Hello, 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 Transurfer and the Transurfing Curious. My name is Renee Garcia, guys, and this is TransurfingTV. And today on TransurfingTV, I'm going to talk about visualizing the goal, the second part of this four-part series on slides. If you missed the previous one, widening the limits of your comfort zone, definitely go back and take a peek because this might make more sense if you have that knowledge as your foundation for this four-part series. But this is a part of transurfing that kind of gets a little bit funny, and I don't know if it's a translation issue or maybe Vadim didn't lay it out in the best sort of way. I know that I have worked through the details in my mind actually working with this knowledge, so I get it, but I've definitely encountered a lot of questions that kind of sound like, you know, I hear Vadim say in the book that you should visualize the goal, but then not to focus on that end thing and to focus on the process, but then not to get concerned with the means to achieve the goal. And there's kind of like these statements that are sort of contradictions to each other in the transurfing modality. And again, I'm probably betting that it's a translation issue, but I'm here to break it down for you. It's actually really, really simple once you get it. And I think transfer chains, I touched on the concept in my last video, but I'll touch on it here. Transfer chains is a huge concept because, and it's only really briefly touched on in the book, but for me, this is where I get to do what I just talked about in the previous video, expand the limits of my comfort zone, and then solely focus on the task at hand, not getting caught up and overwhelmed by seeing my goal as some distant sort of dream that I'm mesmerized by, but not actually taking action towards. I get to place my order. I, expand the limits of my comfort zone, and then I simply do what I need to do in that moment, that link in the chain, right? The other thing is I don't visualize my goal in a way where I'm visualizing my goal as again, like a dream. I'm more embodying my goal. I'm becoming my goal. I'm accepting that this version of reality is in fact for me, and I'm visualizing my goal in real time via my actions, my thoughts, my frequency. All this stuff as transurfers we learn how to do to materialize that version of reality rather than sitting on the couch distantly dreaming off about some, ambiguous idea that, oh, wouldn't it be great to have? So this is kind of like what people are doing a lot, especially with the conventional sort of goals that people aspire to have, like the $1 million. There's a lot of people that are just kind of like, well, I'd love to have $1 million. That'd be great. I'd kick my job to the curb, and I'd get rid of all my debt, and man, I could really kill it if I had $1 million. And again, it's thoughts and beliefs like this $1 million is going to perform some miracle in your life, and this is this $1 million is like the end all be all. Become the $1 million yourself. Feel as though you are living as if you have $1 million right now, acting as if you are a millionaire right now, resonating at a frequency where, you're going to attract all the outer intention things that you need to pull into your reality to actually materialize the $1 million. And you'll realize that that's a lot more of a sure deal than sitting on the couch distantly dreaming about what you could kick to the curb if you had $1 million. I love it, the $1 million. So before I get started on the rest of this lesson, remember to like this video, subscribe to this channel, and comment below. All the course links, Reality 2.0, Tufty 2.0, Mo Money, Becoming Magnetic, all that stuff. Join us on the Facebook group, Reality International Transurfing Institute Facebook group, and follow me on Instagram, reality_transurfing. Okay, so let's get into visualizing the goal. The transurfing method proposed for reaching personal goals lies beyond the realms of common sense and conventional worldview. Of all known unconventional methods, visualizing one's goal has most in common with the methods of transurfing. Visualization involves using the imagination to create a mental picture of a goal in as much detail as possible and carrying the picture in your mind. The conventional worldview would say that visualization is a waste of time. It is true that distance is covered by those who walk the road, not by the one who sits around lost in daydreams. However, imagining a mental picture of the goal has the same deciding weight as the actual process of achieving it for reasons you are already aware of. The one who simply walks the road will achieve average results and live the same life as everyone else, making their own fine contribution to the majesty of common sense. In contrast, the pilgrim who has the methods of transurfing at their disposal is capable of achieving the kind of results that common sense can only attempt to explain, grasping at the notions of luck, coincidence, and fate's chosen few. From the point of view of common sense, transurfing seems to turn everything on its head. The same, of course, can be said of common sense from the point of view of transurfing. If you do not want to live like everyone else, if you do not want to be content with mediocre achievements, if you strive to experience life in the maximum, then you are a pilgrim. In transurfing, the pilgrim is not Lady Fortune's chosen one. On the contrary, Lady Fortune is the pilgrim's choice. You can achieve anything you want if you succeed in toppling the monolith of common sense. This does not mean floating in the clouds, quite the opposite. It means coming back to earth and grounding, because the majority of what we call common sense is nothing of the kind. You will have seen the truth of this several times already, and many more unusual ideas await you. Don't you just love it? We still need to answer the question of why visualization does not always bring about the desired result. Even dedicated followers of alternative psychology and all things esoteric cannot totally depend on visualization for success. Various visualization techniques exist, ranging from quite simple to more complex versions, and they all work to varying degrees of success. Sometimes they work and sometimes they do not. Like me, you may find this level of reliability unsatisfactory, and so I would like to reassure you from the outset that the technique used in transurfing is slightly different. As long as it is practiced according to the rules of transurfing, offers a no-fail visualization technique. There are 3 common types of visualization technique. The first type is the dream. From a practical point of view, this is the weakest and most unreliable form of visualization. There is no harm in dreaming, but in terms of transformation, it is fairly useless. Dreams do not come true. As a rule, those who love to fantasize are not actually expecting their dreams to be realized. They might think they do, but deep down, they either do not believe it is really possible or they lack the intent to have and act. Dreamers look at their dreams in the same way as they gaze at the distant stars. When you hint to them of castles in the sky, they close up like an oyster clamps its shell shut. Leave my dream alone. When you define the goal of the dreamer with more precision, you find that it is, in fact, just the process of dreaming and nothing more. The second type of visualization is the film. I do not mean the kind of film one watches at the cinema, but the kind of film people watch in their mind in relation to their desires. This is different to simply dreaming because the process is initiated consciously. There is the intent to have and the intent to act, and one action undertaken includes visualizing the realization of your desire as if you were watching a film. For example, you want to have your house, and so you imagine the house of your dreams in all sorts of different ways, and in all its detail, i.e., according to all the rules of visualization. In your mind, you will probably have a very clear picture of what the house looks like and will hold the image in your mind's eye every day. The third type of visualization, the person plays a role in the film rather than observing it. This type of visualization is much more effective. By playing an active role in the visualized material, you set the parameters of your thought energy to correspond to that lifeline. For example, if your goal is to have a new home, there is no point in looking at it in your thoughts as you would a painting. Create a kind of virtual waking dream. Enter the house, walk through the rooms, touching the things as you go, sink into an armchair across from the fireplace and feel the cozy warmth and smell the smoke. Put a couple of logs on the fire, go into the kitchen, take a look in the fridge to see what you can find. Go to sleep in a comfortable bed. Do you feel relaxed? Sit at the table with your family. Have a housewarming party. Move the furniture around. Touch the grass in the garden, noticing how green and soft it is. Plant some flowers. What are your favorite? Pick an apple from the tree and eat it. Make yourself at home because it is your home. Do not look at it with the eyes of a suffering dreamer, with awe, as if it were something unavailable or some distant prospect. The house is already yours. Act as if it were real. Okay, so I'm going to stop here because I can actually explain this in pretty easy and vivid and practical detail to really just help you bring it closer to home. So, as he stated in that last bit that I read about really embellishing that visualization with detail, again, the first step to creating your own reality is acknowledging that that version of reality exists. Without that, you can go nowhere. You absolutely can go nowhere. There's going to be very, very little room for you to move around if you don't even believe that it's a version of reality that exists. I remember probably a couple months ago, some guy messaged me. It was hilarious. He's like, I've been running my visualization and everybody in my life tells me that it's crazy, and I did it for an entire month, but I don't even believe that I can have it, but I still wanted to see if I visualized it, if it would come, and it's not here yet. What am I doing wrong? I was like, I don't even know what to say to you, but you're trying to visualize something that you don't even believe exists. Like, how is that possibly going to work? So here's the deal. The more you visualize the details, the more you embellish that slide, the more you really immerse yourself tactically, sensually, with all the different things that you can imagine, how it feels to look at the jewelry and what the weight feels like on your arm. How it sounds when it does its little stuff. All those different kinds of things. What this is doing is this is helping you to really convince yourself of the availability and the access and the idea of you holding it, having it, being it, doing it, whatever it is that you're visualizing. The more detail, the more convincing it is to you. So the more convincing it is to you, the more you embody that version of you that actually has a thing, because the more detail that you can envision and allow yourself to really melt into, the more you're going to believe it. The more you believe it, the more you project that outwardly. The more you project that outwardly, the more you attract outer intention, helping you by showing you all the ways in which you can actually materialize this version of reality. It's really simple. When you get into it, it's really, really simple. So running through the 4 ways to materializing what it is that you intend to have. First of all, acknowledging that that version of reality does in fact exist, right? This is the first step, the slide, living in it. Can I imagine myself having a bunch of nice jewelry and nice things and a comfortable life? And can I envision myself being a spokesperson for Reality Transurfing and doing these different things and having these different businesses? So this slide is what helps me to convince myself that this version of reality does in fact exist. The first step in creating your own reality. Then your thoughts have to be in line with this version of reality. The more you live in that slide, the more you embody that goal. You embody that state of being, of that version of you having achieved that goal. You're going to think like that version of you, right? You're going to think like that version of you. So then once you're thinking like that version of you and you're believing that that version of reality exists, then you're able to take action because it just comes naturally. It's no longer a distant dream of something far off in space that you may or may not ever encounter, might be for somebody else, probably not for you because, God, it's so far away. How am I going to ever get there? You're embodying that version of you. You're visualizing that version of reality. So when outer intention flows something up to you, a way in which, a means in which you can achieve this goal, you see it and you're like, oh shit, there it is. There it is. And this is my cue for action, right? Cue up the action. So then you jump into that thing and you fuel it with a bunch of energy and you get in there and you start acting as if. And as you do all of these 3 things kind of in conjunction with each other, your frequency starts to change and you're no longer that previous version of yourself. You're now that newer version of yourself that is a little bit closer to that lifeline. You've pushed out the walls of your belief system a little bit, and you're incorporating, a wider area of the alternative space, and your frequency starts to fire off a little bit, and sure enough, that frequency connects with exactly what it is that you need, and it kind of just fuels the whole system. And before you know it, you're on your way. The vector of the flow has been set. You're cruising, right? You're in that film, but you're no longer just watching it passively. You're actually acting that role in that film, and you get to back up off everything and just do the tasks at hand as they come to you and sort of move yourself down that transfer chain, which we will get into in lesson number 4. And it's a reality magic trick and it's bitchin'. So I hope you guys enjoyed this lesson. I hope I clarified a little bit more of visualizing the goal. If not, we're going to talk about visualizing the process next. I'll try to wrap up some little loose ends in there before we move on to transfer chains. And I appreciate all you guys watching this video. Have a good day, everybody. Bye.